Let's start with Rise of the Ronin. If you've ever wanted to step into the shoes of a samurai in a world at the crossroads of history, then this game is going to blow your mind. Right away, you're thrown into 19th century Japan, an era filled with massive change, where tradition and modernization are colliding. It's like being part of a living, breathing history lesson, only with swords, epic battles, and this incredible atmosphere that just pulls you in. The combat is where it truly shines. It's got that classic samurai swordplay feel. But there's a modern twist too. It's all about timing, precision, and making every strike count. When you're in the heat of battle, you feel this rush of intensity. But what's even cooler is that you also have firearms at your disposal, which brings this unique balance between traditional and new. So you're not just relying on your katana. You're adapting and making use of everything around you. Plus, if you're into exploration, there's so much to find. There are side quests and hidden details that flesh out the world, rewarding you for going off the main path and just taking your time. It's the kind of game that encourages you to slow down, appreciate the world, and really immerse yourself in the experience. Beyond the battles, Rise gives you these powerful story moments that make you feel connected to the people and the history of the era. You're not just a fighter, you're a part of the world's story, shaping events as they unfold. The choices you make feel impactful, and there's this sense of weight to each decision, almost like you're carrying the spirit of the era with you. Next we have Outer Wilds. This game is all about exploring the unknown, and it really leans into that feeling of pure discovery. You're a new astronaut, part of this tiny space program from a small, cozy alien race, and you're launched out into space with nothing but your ship and a lot of questions. And I mean a lot of questions. What's so cool about Outer Wilds is that it doesn't handhold or push you in any specific direction. You have this whole solar system to explore, and every single planet is like its own character. Each place is unique, with strange environments, hidden stories, and mysteries that just pull you in. You land somewhere, start exploring, and immediately find yourself getting wrapped up in something unexpected. The sense of wonder in this game is unreal. I mean, you'll be cruising along and suddenly you're uncovering secrets that are far bigger than you'd expect. There's something magical about wandering into these ancient ruins or discovering strange technologies from a long-lost civilization. And as you piece things together, you start to understand that every single mystery is connected, which is honestly so satisfying. One of my favorite things is how much Outer Wilds makes you feel like a real explorer. There's no combat or big flashy objectives. It's all about curiosity. Every time you figure something out, it feels like a little victory, and the game respects that you're smart enough to connect the dots on your own. Another thing is the time loop. It's such a unique mechanic that gives the game this sense of urgency, but without being punishing. It's like you're reliving this amazing day over and over, trying to piece together everything. Next we have Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. If you're familiar with the Yakuza series, you already know you're in for something big, bold, and just a little over the top. This game picks up with our guy, Ichiban Kasuga, who's back for another round of absolute chaos, heartwarming moments, and more twists than you can count. And let me tell you, if you're ready for a journey that's equal parts action, drama, and pure hilarity, this one's going to hit the spot. What makes Infinite Wealth stand out is how it blends a serious story with some of the funniest, most bizarre side activities you'll ever see. One minute, you're dealing with intense emotional scenes. The next, you're wrapped up in a totally ridiculous minigame, and you're laughing because it's so outrageous. It's like they managed to throw in every wild idea they could think of, and somehow it all works. And with Ichiban leading the way, every moment feels fresh and unpredictable. Now, the turn-based combat, it's back. And better than ever. The strategy side of things adds this fun layer to every battle, and it's packed with quirky moves that only a game like a Dragon could pull off. And if you've played the previous games, you'll notice the combat's even more refined here. It's still got that signature mix of outlandish attacks and strategic depth, which makes every fight feel epic and hilarious at the same time. But beyond the action, it's really about the characters. Ichiban is one of those protagonists who's impossible not to root for. He's got this mix of loyalty, optimism, and pure heart that makes him stand out. Infinite Wealth is a must-play. Next we have Mountain Blade 2. This isn't just a typical RPG or strategy game. It's like living out your own medieval fantasy. You start off as a humble character, but from the get-go, you feel like you're on this epic journey to carve out your destiny in a sprawling world filled with kingdoms, clans, and armies. One of the best parts? You're in full control of how you want to play. You could be a mercenary for hire, a fearless warrior leading your own band of soldiers, or even a shrewd trader moving goods across the land. There's so much freedom to just pick a path that feels right for you, and the game fully supports it, no matter what direction you take. The battles are where it gets really intense. You're not just watching the action, you're in the thick of it, swinging swords, firing arrows, and commanding your troops. And these battles are huge. You're part of these massive, chaotic skirmishes, and it feels like you're in the middle of an actual medieval battlefield. But Bannerlord isn't just about fighting, it's also about strategy. You're managing everything from your troops to your resources, deciding when to take risk or play it safe. Building alliances and managing relationships with different lords and factions adds this extra layer that makes it feel like a medieval version of Game of Thrones. Every decision you make, every alliance, and even every slight against another lord has consequences. One thing I love is the world itself. It feels alive. Villages and cities grow. People have their own lives. And you're part of this bigger world that moves forward whether you're there or not. You feel connected to the land. Next, we have Subnautica. This game is a total gem for anyone who loves exploration, survival, and a hint of mystery. You start out stranded on an alien ocean planet. There's this incredible mix of wonder and tension as you explore. It's like the game is always pushing you to go a little bit deeper, a little bit further, just to see what's out there. One of the things I absolutely love about Subnautica is how it nails the feeling of discovery. The ocean is vast, and filled with all sorts of creatures, plants, and places that are as beautiful as they are mysterious. Every time you dive, you're uncovering new things that make you feel like a real explorer. And even though it's underwater, the world feels so alive. From shallow coral reefs that are bright and colorful to the darker, deeper zones that get way more intimidating. It's all crafted with so much detail. You've got to manage your oxygen, food, water. It's challenging, but in a way that feels fair and really keeps you on your toes. There's something so satisfying about scavenging for resources, crafting equipment, and upgrading your gear as you go. Slowly building up your tools to explore deeper and farther feels super rewarding. It's like every small success is a huge win, and you get this incredible sense of progress. And the creatures? They're incredible. Some are friendly, just minding their own business, but others? Well, let's just say there are a few surprises in the deep that make your heart race. The game does this brilliant job of making you feel small, like you're just one tiny part of this huge ecosystem that doesn't necessarily care about you. Next we have Until Dawn Remake. What makes Until Dawn so unique is that you're the one guiding the story. Every choice you make, every little decision, has a real impact on what happens to these characters. And in this remake, those intense moments feel even more vivid and polished. One of my favorite things about Until Dawn is how it feels like you're in a horror movie, but you're the one calling the shots. You're constantly making these choices, sometimes tiny, sometimes huge, and they all add up in ways you don't expect. It's the kind of game where you second-guess every choice, wondering if you did the right thing or just doomed someone. The remake brings even more of that suspense, and the character movements and expressions feel way more lifelike, so you're fully sucked into every tense moment. The characters are all really fleshed out too. Each one has their own quirks, personalities, and flaws, and you can actually feel the chemistry between them. It's like hanging out with a group of friends who have a shared past. And sometimes you have to decide who you want to trust or protect. The writing and performances feel even sharper here, making you care about these characters and root for them, while at the same time, you're totally nervous for them. The Until Dawn remake is one of those games that'll keep you glued to the screen. It's not just about surviving the night, it's about making choices you can stand by, or maybe ones you regret later. It's intense, thrilling, and incredibly satisfying, and it'll definitely keep you coming back for more. So grab a controller, dim the lights, and get ready for a wild, haunting ride. Next we have Sons of the Forest. If you're into survival games with an edge, this game takes that experience and dials it up in all the best ways. Right off the bat, it's intense. You crash land on this eerie, sprawling island, and it's clear from the get-go that you're not exactly alone, but there's a thrill to it that keeps you totally hooked. The game doesn't just drop you into a survival scenario. It throws you into a living, breathing ecosystem with some truly jaw-dropping realism. You feel like you're out there, battling against nature, and some other things we won't spoil. But I'll just say, the sense of isolation combined with danger is palpable. One thing I really love here is how the game rewards curiosity. You can choose your own pace, either charging ahead to explore, or taking things slowly to craft and build up your defenses. And man, the crafting system is deep. You'll be making everything from simple shelters to advanced traps, all while keeping an eye out for resources. It's this blend of strategy and suspense that keeps you on your toes the entire time. What's different from the usual survival experience is how it feels so grounded. Even simple things, like setting up a campfire or catching fish, feel like real-life survival tasks. You're not just managing hunger and thirst, you're adapting to the environment and learning its rhythms. And speaking of the island, this place is gorgeous in a haunting way. It's full of these dark, atmospheric forests and mysterious caves that call you to explore, but also send a chill down your spine. Next we have Once Human. What's cool here, it's not just about staying alive, it's about piecing together what happened to this world and how you fit into it. Every corner you turn, there's a story waiting, something eerie and fascinating. And the survival mechanics are deep, but never overwhelming. You're constantly gathering resources, crafting gear, and figuring out how to stay one step ahead. What's great is that it keeps you on your toes, always pushing you to think about your next move. But there's this balance. You're surviving, but you're also unearthing secrets and discovering new abilities. It feels rewarding, almost like every little victory brings you closer to understanding the world around you. Then, there are the creatures, each one more twisted and bizarre than the last. They're not just monsters. They have personalities, and they adapt based on how you play. Sometimes you're just staring at these things, wondering how on earth they came to be. It's creepy, but in a way that makes you want to know more. Now, if you love multiplayer games, Once Human has a great co-op aspect that brings a whole new layer to the experience. Working with friends to survive and explore adds this camaraderie that makes each encounter unique. It's about building a little community, fighting alongside friends, and sharing those heart-pounding moments together. The environments have this gritty, decayed beauty to them, almost like a post-apocalyptic dreamscape where nature and the supernatural collide. Once Human just has this vibe, a mix of mystery, horror, and exploration. Next we have Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora. Now, I know a lot of us have waited years to see more of Pandora since the original Avatar movie. Whether you loved it for its visuals, the unique world, or just getting lost in this strange, immersive place. Well, here's the perfect excuse to dive back in and actually be in Pandora, not just watching it on a screen. The cool thing is, you're not just wandering around as a tourist. This is your home, and as you're exploring, you get this real sense of belonging. The way they've crafted the interactions with the world and other Na'vi characters just pulls you into the story. It's personal and really touches on that classic theme of connecting to nature, but on a whole new level. Combat-wise, it's balanced in a way that makes you feel powerful, yet still in tune with the environment. The Na'vi weaponry isn't just about brute force. It's more graceful, blending seamlessly with nature. It's not like you're there to destroy, but rather defend and protect, which gives a nice sense of purpose to every fight. And honestly, if you're into exploration, you're going to have a blast. Pandora's open-world setup lets you go off the main path, uncovering hidden spots that tell little stories of their own. It's the kind of game where you don't mind getting lost, because there's always something breathtaking to discover. So yeah, if you're looking for a game that's both visually stunning and has depth, give this one a shot. It's the kind of experience that'll stick with you long after you've turned off the console. Next we have Fallout 4. This game is all about exploring a massive, post-apocalyptic world filled with adventure, surprises, and the freedom to forge your own story. Right from the start, you're stepping into a world that feels alive. Well, as alive as a wasteland can be. You emerge into this beautifully ruined version of Boston, and there's this sense of mystery about what happened, who survived, and how you'll carve out your place in it. One of the best parts about Fallout 4 is just how much freedom you have. Want to be a hero, saving settlements and helping people out? Go for it. Prefer to be more of a lone wanderer, exploring every nook and cranny at your own pace? You can totally do that too. The game really lets you make those decisions and watch as the world reacts to you, which makes it feel super personal. And the combat, super satisfying. You can target specific body parts on enemies, which gives battles a bit of a strategic twist. Whether you're up against raiders, mutated creatures, or robots, every fight keeps you on your toes. And the weapon variety is massive. You can go from a simple pipe pistol to a full-blown laser rifle, whatever fits your style. Plus, there's so much to discover. Every abandoned shack, rusted-out car, and hidden bunker has a story, whether it's in the form of an old journal, a skeleton in an odd place, or a stash of supplies that makes you wonder who left it behind. Fallout 4 is full of these tiny details that make the world feel rich and layered, like you're uncovering secrets at every turn.